I read a suspicious conversation between my husband and a former coworker. My husband quit his job recently because he was unhappy with the company. He would always complain about the long hours and frequently complained about his supervisor. According to him, she was very demanding, but they eventually became friends. I was sending myself pictures he took of me through his phone to mine when I saw a message pop up. That would be nice. I opened up the message out of curiosity, because I see it's from that coworker. She was basically asking him if he wanted them to go their separate ways so she can finally make peace. He asks her, "What do you want in the end?" She says she wants a good friend. He asks, "But you still love me?" Her reply was, "No. I love you like a friend but nothing more than that." Then his last message to her was, "I will try to see you as a friend again then." At this point a lot of anxious thoughts are running through my head, but I'm trying to see this from a point where it's not what it appears to be. I need advice on where to go from here. How should I talk to him about this? I caught my husband asking a former coworker if she still loved him. After saying she only saw him as a friend, he said he would try to see her as a friend again. I don't know if I'm just in shock. I don't want to accuse him of anything. I need advice on what to do next. Now for the top comments. Your post history shows that your husband has had a classic midlife crisis, and that you've tried to support things. The messages you read are irrefutable proof that he's been cheating on you for an extended period of time, and would have continued to do so if she didn't call it off. I would put money on her pressuring him to quit, and potentially on everyone at work knowing about the affair too. So now you're left wondering what to do about an unemployed cheater. Leave while you can, you deserve love. And he deserves the consequence of his actions. Next comment. I agree with everything you've said, but would urge OP to consult a lawyer before confronting him or doing anything else. Take screenshots of that conversation, send them to a few different accounts of her own that husband doesn't have access to, and see a lawyer as soon as office open. Confronting him, leaving, or attempting to separate finances without legal advice can leave her wide open to a world of financial hurt depending on where she lives, especially if she's been supporting the family through his unemployment. She is in shock. She probably needs to end this relationship, but she needs to protect herself before trying to get away. It's what will be safest for her in the long run. It sucks, and I wish she could just go, or that he would come clean with a written, notarized document and leave her alone, but she shouldn't take any chances. Next comment. Practically what to do is to start gathering evidence if you can. Keep it for yourself in moments of weakness and for possible future legal matters. You also need to start considering what this will mean for you and your family, and charting your own support systems. Make a list of all the people you have in your life who you can rely on, and if you find it shorter than you hope, start reaching out. People will be there, especially women. So many of us have gone through this same thing. Make a list of things that make you feel fulfilled as a person and start building that into your life as much as possible. As it's been stated by many people, what's for sure is that your relationship with your husband will never be the same. Esther Perel is famous for telling couples who come to counseling after infidelity, your relationship is over. Do you want to start a new relationship with this person? Or not? Crucial within this is giving yourself the space and support to actually decide. You need to get to a place where you can be happy and satisfied single, so you are not choosing out of fear, grief, or loneliness. All those feelings are completely natural, and please give yourself grace to work through them. Infidelity doesn't equal divorce in all cases, but you owe it to yourself and your family to give yourself the best chance at happiness. No matter what choice you make, you can. By the way, if you have children and are worried about disrupting the family by leaving him, or going through a separation, research supports that staying together for the kids is only beneficial when it's working, and you giving your children the example of how to engage in appropriate self-care and boundary setting is the best option, always. Good co-parenting does not need to mean being in the same house or same relationship. And finally, this is a huge change, with infinite complexity, so you would really be best served by reaching out to a professional for counseling, if you are able. Best of luck, love. Remember, you did not deserve this, and it is not a reflection on you. Next comment. I don't see any other interpretation than they were having an affair, and she probably was the one who ended it. He wanted to know whether she still loved him, meaning she said she loved him once. You don't ask that of someone you're no longer interested in. If it were innocent, he wouldn't have to try to see her as a friend again. That he has to try means he doesn't feel that way now, and he's going to try to change his feelings based on her decision. I would try to find out more info before you confronted him about this. This is going to go into snooping, which most consider a betrayal of trust, but I think you have cause here. If you don't want to snoop, just confront him and see what he says, but it also gives him a heads up to destroy evidence. Try looking in his deleted folder if there's one on his phone. Do you get detailed cell phone bills that list who you text and call? Are there emails from her? Next comment. I read your post history. Damn girl, leave his. You were the only one driving and working, and he said you were too dependent on him, and you felt bad the house was messy when you ran all the errands and he called you lazy. Like WTF. He got you all twisted around so you don't know up from down. He's a liar and manipulator, and after all that now you found out he's a cheater too. Leave his sorry. He sounds like a complete loser. You need to stand up for yourself and don't let him sweet talk you into staying. You don't need him. You're young and you can find someone who treats you with respect. Not someone who complains you didn't stop for a pedestrian. Who TF even cares and complains about this? Your anxiety will drop once you drop his extra weight. Next comment. Get to a marriage counselor who is experienced with infidelity. Get off Reddit, because the advice will lead you to divorce. A marriage counselor who knows their stuff can save your marriage, particularly since the, obviously, affair is over. You are in shock. Things that will reduce your chance of coming through this as a couple are asking people who have been traumatized by infidelity, and who have ended their marriages for advice. Instead, get counseling, get the truth out of him in therapy. A good therapist will ensure that the disclosure is full, but not full of traumatizing details. Then you need to see the marriage as basically being rebuilt from the ground up. The old one will be in the past, and then you decide whether there is a new one in the future. You have the power here. Next comment. He was probably at a minimum having an emotional affair and cut it off. Consider before continuing to confront him where your personal red lines are, and determine what you are going to do depending on how far it went and his responses. No matter what, I would recommend contacting a lawyer first without him knowing to understand your options if he isn't going to be honest, or if he isn't going to meet your demands, or if he crossed your personal red line, and you want it to be over. Regardless, I would recommend marriage counseling and individual counseling even if it was just an emotional affair, and you are planning to stay together. You probably should speak to a counselor before you confront him to get help with making these decisions as well. They can help guide you to what you want. Take screenshots of messages and send to yourself for proof. Delete the messages and images after you send them to yourself. Make sure you delete them from his image trash as well. Next comment. I want to go a different direction and frame this differently. If a coworker's feelings made your husband uncomfortable, then I think it makes perfect sense for him to say, "But are you still in love with me and I can try to see you as a friend again?" Because if someone makes you uncomfortable, you're going to stop seeing them as a friend. You might still value the old friendship, so if they say their feelings are gone, you might try to see them as a friend again, as in he'll try to forget about you being in love with me and be friends with you. I'm sure most PPL here, especially women, have had a guy friend confess feelings which threw off the friendship. If that friend came back and said, "Hey, I just want to be friends now," wouldn't you say something like, "Do you still love me though?" And then he'll try to see you like a friend again. Next comment. Girl, see the truth now or have it slap you in the face later. You've been lied to. Possibly for months, years. Don't start lying to yourself and asking strangers on the internet to lie to you as well. You know what this is, and it is anything but innocent. And it's not an accusation when you confront. Tease someone with facts, and the fact is that he was engaging in a very inappropriate conversation and relationship with another woman. On a romantic and professional level. He has also seemingly affected your family financially, as it's now evident he left the job due to this inappropriate relationship. Exactly how far it went remains to be seen, but there's enough in that brief conversation to warrant a confrontation. I would read the rest of the messages between them as far back as they go and proceed based on what you find.